Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Marketing 101. I'm Dr. Enrico Dolcecore, and this week we are going through the power of events. Events can cover many different things. An event can be anything, and why you should be doing events in your business. It creates community, and we'll get to this in a second. Chiropractors have a unique industry that we're in. We have something nobody wants and wants to pay for. So we have to work a little bit harder than everyone else. And I was talking to another doc last week, and they're like, man, these medical doctors have like full practices and they can't accept new patients. How does that work? I'm like, yeah, it's an ideal model of a paradigm that's happening, right? And the medical model is the paradigm of healthcare. So unfortunately, that's just the standard of care that everyone understands and accepts. So as a medical doctor opens their practice, and you don't see this very often anymore, the mom and pop MD offices don't exist. They're all part of conglomerates. But when they used to be, they'd open up their practice, they would build up with new patients because there'd be a lineup of people. As soon as one person got in, they'd be like telling everyone, hey, my new primary doctor is accepting new patients. And then boom, within 3 months, they got a full patient base. They know what that number is. Once they have that many patients subscribed into the practice as their primary care, that doctor is now full, not accepting any more new patients. If they can hire another primary care doctor, then that doctor comes in, they fill up, and that's it. Based on the square footage, it may be a 2 or 3 doctor office based on the rooms and the appointments that they can do each week. And that's it. That practice is then full, accepting no new patients. Then you scratch your head and you're like, wow, that would be amazing for chiropractors, wouldn't it? It's unrealistic. It's a fantasy. It's not going to happen until a paradigm shifts where chiropractors are primary care healthcare. Not going to happen. Not in our lifetime. So the fact is, we have to do the other things. This is why dentists sponsor their local high schools. That's why chiropractors sponsor their local high schools. Orthodontists have to do this stuff. They have different paradigms. Not everyone thinks they need an orthodontist or an ophthalmologist or a chiropractor or a physical therapist until the time comes where they need to search for this based on their symptoms. Make sense? And that's why getting out there makes a huge impact. You can do this in your office and outside of your office. And this podcast is going to show you why building community is the best thing you can do for any business, whether you sell bicycles, whether you sell chiropractic, whether you sell restaurants, food, whatever it may be. Building community is always the best thing you can do. How can you build a lasting impression in your community? Well, one is create a welcoming space, an engaging space. It doesn't necessarily have to be in your office. By building your community, you'll build trust, you'll build rapport with your community, and it's fantastic. And of course, this leads to business growth and word of mouth referrals. I gave you the medical model of their event might just be, when they open up, they just put out an ad. They're like, hey, new medical practice open. And that's really all they need to do. Pretty sweet. No marketing, no anything needed for that. So there's different types of events you can do. And let's go through them. I got like 4 or 5 examples of what you can do. Educational workshops are probably the biggest one for most chiropractors because almost all of you listening right now could do a workshop on something. You know more than you give credit to yourself. You are a doctor. You know a lot of information. You just really don't put it out there. That's the time, that's the opportunity to show your smarts is in your educational workshops and your passions and the things that you love helping people with. That's how you do it, creating a workshop. So maybe you really love sports injuries and you're really good at, and over the years you figured out that you're really good at these knee injuries, or you're good at rotator cuff injuries, or maybe shoulder. Maybe you took the OTZ program and you really want to work on more shoulders and frozen shoulders. These are just examples of sports. Maybe you're into pediatrics. Maybe you're into prenatal. Maybe you're into upper cervical, whatever it may be. That's your specialty that you should be talking about. And then you can do a little bit of back end research to see what the people want to hear. If you're an expert in the nuchal ligament injuries and doing a nuchal ligament injury workshop, probably not a good idea because no one out there knows what it is, and its search is probably very low. And but writing a blog on that might be great. But that's a different exercise for a different day. So educational workshops have to be tailored to your community. What are the big problems in your community right now that you may be able to solve? That's what everyone says. If you like Mark Cuban and those Dragon Den guys and those investors and Grant Cardone and Tony Robbins, if you listen to any of this stuff and they're asked, how'd you make your millions or your billions? The answer is always this: find a solution to a problem and sell it. And that's really it. So chiropractic is a solution to many different problems, right? But the core is subluxation. So teaching about that again, it's not something exciting. So pick your passions. Maybe you're do some functional medicine. Maybe you want to do some gut health stuff. That's huge. Parents know about gut health. People know about gut health. People are starting to really understand that. Viral load since COVID, talking about infection and immunity. This stuff works really well. All of you in Canada are like, yeah, I can't talk about that. But you can end up with sports injury. You absolutely can, right? So then you start putting these workshops together. These can be done virtually at the beginning. Maybe you're like, I don't want people in my office. Like, I don't want to try to get a whole bunch of people in my office. That's great. Do a virtual workshop. Have it on a landing page. You make it a live one. So everyone's got to tune in at a certain time. No one does. You get the 6 people that tune in, and then you can use that landing page and email it to everyone that registered for the workshop afterwards. Like, oh, sorry, you missed us live and you didn't get the live Q&A, but here's the workshop for your reference. If you want to become a new patient, click here, and there's a funnel to a marketing plan behind it. We'll get into that later. So those are workshops. So there you go. Hopefully that spurs some ideas on what you could be talking about for workshops. I remember I've done a whole bunch of stuff, and the best workshops come from a passion and a belief in what you do. It's internal, it's you. So when you're in a positive state of mind and you're excited about what you do and you're excited about that topic, that's the workshop you need to do. My dad was diagnosed with colon cancer in 2011, and it was right before Christmas. And he was scared. 67 years old. They said it was stage 1. Then they did a lymph panel, or they checked his lymph nodes. Like, oh no, it's in your lymphatic system. It's stage 3. So that changed the dynamic within a course of a week, and really scared us. I was young at the time. 2011. Doing some math. Was I 30 yet? No, I was 28. So pretty young. Dad's got cancer. What's going to happen? And I got pretty passionate about this stuff. And we're like, Dad, here's your options. You can go the chemo route. You can do this. And he looked at everything, thought about it. He's like, I don't know if I'm going to survive this chemo stuff. Like, he was 40 pounds overweight, yada, yada, yada. So long story short, he went this way. He's like, let me do the natural thing. Let's see what happens. Long story short, within 4 months, the cancer is almost gone, completely gone. They couldn't see it on a CT. Raw diet, whole foods, high B12 or high vitamin C injections, went to the naturopath, did mistletoe therapy, IVs. Like, he was doing all the stuff, the anti-cancer stuff, and getting adjusted like crazy. Like, he was never getting adjusted. But we worked hard, and we got to a point, and that process, that 4 months of me being scared, put together the raw food workshop. And then I found a lady in the community that had a raw food store, and we teamed up and we started teaching about juicing. And it was like a whole year of this, like, fitness, nutrition, and raw food. And then I got crisscrossed with Maximize Living at that time. Oh no, Dr. Majors was still alive, and it just hit home for me at that time. And and then I was like, oh man, this is all working out. And so we changed it to Cancer Killers, and we had the books and the cruise ship or the nursing home. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, it's okay. But it's funny how when you're in it, how everything just comes to you. And those were our biggest workshops, I think, maybe ever. I've done some bigger ones, but consistently, like, people wanted to come to this. They didn't know what raw food was. They're like, raw food class? I'm not going to eat raw chicken. That's what everyone always thought. Like, we're eating raw beef. I'm like, no, guys, raw, like, whole foods. And it turned into this great thing. And my dad started coming to the workshops after, and then try not to cry here. People would clap. It was crazy. So you do this kind of stuff, and it changes things. It's pretty cool. So find what you love. That passion will run, and it'll just carry on. It's amazing. So there you go. Health and wellness fairs. I'm a big fan of this. The fair thing is a way to directly get your community involved into your practice. So you go around, you talk to the hairstylist, the physical therapist, the dentist, the dog groomers, anyone that's around you. You're like, hey, we're going to host this fair. It can be inside a community hall, your local community. It can be, up north in Canada, I had to do everything inside. But in the summer, we'd have like a stampede pancake breakfast that we would go be sponsored and be part of the vendors there as well. Just get involved and embedded in the community. So you can either go into these fairs or you can host them. I like controlling them. I like hosting them. These are great ideas. Everyone's always like, I don't want to do it. I don't think I should do that. I'm a doctor. I spent $300,000 on my tuition. I don't want to do. I don't understand that way of thinking. I mean, what else are you going to do? Like, what else are you gonna do? Spend another $100,000 on a coaching program to try and funnel people through Facebook ads? I don't get it. I don't understand why you don't want to get out in the community. It's going to set up permanent relationships for the rest of your career in that community. Uh, Marketing comes and goes. Everyone's scrolling all the time. You're going to be forgotten within 22 minutes. Like, it's gone. Like, once they scroll by, it's gone. But once you're in the community, shake someone's hand and you tell them one thing about what you do, or you get an emotional factor in there by being in the community. Like, what? You help people with fill in the blank? I never even thought about that. Right. They walk away. You walk away. You don't think about anything of it. Maybe they didn't sign up or give you your email or anything. And down the road, they end up calling the office. You don't even know where you got them from. That's how this stuff happens. Like, we get naturally 25 referrals a month. I don't know where they come from. We try and track them down. Yes, they're sometimes linked to another person, which is nice. But some people are like, no, I was referred, or I heard about you guys a while ago, or I'm like, this is nuts. So it's amazing when you get embedded into your community. You can do open houses. It doesn't have to be just for a new office. So this is another idea, or an anniversary event. So we tie in it's a celebration. You got door prizes, refreshments. You can give tours of your office, brief demos of some of the stuff that you do, like spinal decompression or your lasers or your techniques or whatever it is that you do. It's just, you can give away massages. You can do whatever you have in your office at that time as an open door event. That works really well. We converted our anniversary into family fun days. I love those ones because we take care of families. So now it's an annual Kids Day Tampa Bay. We now have that. We have the URL. We have all that great stuff. We get about 2,000 registrations every year. And we get about 500 people that show up. This fills up the whole party. It's a huge thing. The fire truck comes out. The bouncy houses are there. We get vendors to come out and spend $50 per table. They're happy to give you $50 to promote their business. You got ice cones. You got, just stuff for the kids. They come on, they spend an hour or two, and they're good to go. Pretty cool stuff there. So that's family fun days. And another big thing that really works, maybe you're like, dude, I don't want to do any of this stuff. Give me another idea. Fundraisers or charity drives. You can do this right from your office. You can set up a box in your office, team up with a local charity, and do these little things that impact the community. And that just shows the people that are coming into your office that you're tied into the community. It's probably the least invasive way and probably the most gracious way of doing events, because it's internal, it's hidden, it's humble. But it's not like boasting out in the community and hosting a huge event. So events can be anything that you put your mind to in your office, and anything that you enjoy doing. So I say go out and try it. It's the best way to just get things done. So now let's get into the nitty-gritty. How do you plan these things? How do you execute a good event, no matter which one you choose, whether it's Kids Day, whether it's an open house, whether it's a charity or a workshop? What do you need to do? The first thing you need to do is know your audience, tailor your event to your community needs and wants, right? So let's go back to the workshop ideas. We really need to know what problems are out there. What are people talking about? You can do local searches. You can see what the search is right now and the best health topics that everyone's searching for right now. It's GLP-1, it's weight loss. It's always weight loss. It's testosterone, it's hormones, it's gut, and then you can tie this stuff back to your office. Be like, hey, GLP-1 workshop. You have nothing to do with GLP-1s, but it's a trigger word for people. They're like, what are you talking about? And in there, you'll explain the workshop about how we can avoid semaglutide and help really get to the cause of metabolic syndrome or whatever it is. I'm just getting off topic there, but know what to solve in your community. Autism is a huge one, right? You got people like Tony Ebel out there that run the whole Perfect Storm thing. You can team up with them. They do that, and then waitlist workshops with Steve Tullius. He's got a few different programs on teaching you how to run workshops, and they market it for you too to get people in the door. So there's ways that are hands off, or you can, do everything we learned in marketing 101 and do it yourself. But that's the way. So consider the demographics. Is it families? Is it seniors? Is it kids? What are you doing? And then just promote these early and often. Make sure your promotions are out there. Utilize your email list. Utilize your current practice members that are coming to your office and their contact. You send them one nice text advertisement prior to the event for that. You send them lots of emails and encourage them to share those emails. And then you use social media a lot. You boost that for 3 weeks in advance, and you get this stuff out there. And then you can use things like Eventbrite or Meetup and just post your event on there. Then you can even back it with some paid advertising if you want to promote it that way too. Not necessary. So you promote this, you get this out there, and then whether it's your event, whatever it is, and then you just offer value at that event. Offer them value for coming out there. What do they get for being that? Whether it's a free health advice, special discounts if they sign up for something, some benefits, some giveaways, some prizes, whatever it may be. Offer some value, and you put that in the advertising to get them there as well. You can partner with other businesses. For most of these, you can partner with other businesses. Maybe the problem you solve isn't just solvable by your modality. Maybe it's not just solved by chiropractic. Maybe teaming up with an occupational therapist, or maybe teaming up with whatever it may be that you're helping with. Maybe you're doing a whole frozen shoulder workshop, teaming up with a local PT. Maybe who knows where this can go and what collaborations you can create by doing this. And then have someone this is the biggest one that I was probably the worst my whole career at this. Have someone there. It could be an employee, it could be whatever you want, taking pictures and capturing the moment. Please capture this. Some video, a lot of pictures, so that you can build this up and use it in future marketing. Because hopefully it's not just one workshop that you do. Hopefully this workshop continues to go on and get bigger and bigger and bigger as you go, or the event gets bigger and bigger. Our Kids Day continues to get bigger. And I don't know what to do. Thank goodness we moved and bought a building and now have a bigger parking lot. But I'm starting to, I don't know, in 2 years, I don't know if that's going to be big enough. We're going to have to move to like the Florida State Fairgrounds or something like that. We'll see what happens. And then, maximizing your post-event impact. You knew I was going to go here with this episode. You guys all knew this. What do you do with all the efforts that you put into this? You follow up. You send a thank you right away to everyone for showing up and being there, whether it's a workshop or an event or an open house, whatever it is. Ask for feedback. That's number 2. This is how you your contacts. Ask them for something. Asking is probably the most powerful human emotion you can pass on to someone's, like asking them, vulnerability, putting the ball in their court, because you're a business. They know what you're doing. So by saying to them, hey, how did we do? What would you do different? They love that. They're like, oh, really? You actually care? We do care. And then you leverage this stuff, get some testimonials, share success stories, and then you just continue to pump this out. It's not an event, a follow-up and done. It's an event and follow up for a long time. You're following up on that event, and then you're turning it from the event to everything that you do, the how, what, and why you do. Hey, did you know this is why we do this? Hey, did you know what we do? We also do all this other stuff. We have massage therapy. We got acupuncture. They're like, oh, you might get them, an acupuncture client out of it. And then the how you do it. And then that's your sequence. And I like email. Email is the best, but your social media should follow up on that too. So that should be the program after the event on the what, why, and how cool the event was. Thanks for showing up. Afterwards, this was the offer we gave everyone. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. If you want it, here's your last chance. You offer it to everyone. Why not? And then, all this stuff. Pretty cool, right? So you can actually schedule appointments at those events too, or follow up. So a lot of great ideas there. I just want to inspire you to get into events. Community is bigger than ever now than it was. It really was tied down from 2020 to, I think, up till last year. There are no events anymore. Remember the breweries having like these things, and the restaurants doing these things, and like the big hospitals doing their event. They all disappeared for COVID, and no one's bringing them back. If you bring them back, here's your chance. I'm telling you about Bitcoin in 2004. This is what I'm doing right now. I'm like, if you bring back events, If you buy Bitcoin and it's 2004, you're going to thank me 10 years from now. I promise you this. You're going to thank me. You're going to be ahead of the curve. Like, bring back events. Do you have to spend thousands of dollars? No. Do you have to spend hundreds of dollars? Barely. Our Kids Day event ends up, I think we do spend a little bit out of pocket. It's probably $200-300, honestly. And it's a huge, you look at this huge event, you're like, what the heck? I don't believe you. But we get 10 or 20 vendors that pay $50. So we get almost $1,000 in vendor to supplement the $1,300 day to come out. The fire truck's free. The EMS truck's free. The vendors that sell food, we usually find the ones that are free. They're like, I don't want to give you a minimum. If their minimum's low, that's like $500, like, yeah, come on out. You're going to make $500. We know they will. And they do. So we don't have to pay them. So everything's kind of free. So there's just the stuff. Maybe we get some more swag or some stuff that we buy, some pens or whatever, maybe some stickers. And that's really it. And a little bit of advertising that we put on Eventbrite and Facebook. So, and you get 1,000, 2,000 registrations. Where's the value in that? The emails that I get we get hundreds of emails. That's the cool part about it. So here's your chance to get out into the community. Give it a shot. It's September. So it's time to start, thinking about 2025. What are you going to do over the next 12, 14 months to really get things going? Maybe you start with some winter workshops in the office, then you have like an open house in the spring or in the summer next year. You got to start planning ahead. We're already starting to plan our Kids Day now. We just do. We just have to start spurring the involvement of the community and our vendors. So what you can do right after this podcast is go to enricod.com. And when you go there, you'll see our website, of course. But if you go scroll up as if you're going to leave, an automatic pop-up comes up, says download our events, hosting successful events workbook. It's free download. You put your name, your email, boom, it automatically sends it to you. And then I get your email address. Cool. We probably already have your email address. But then you're in there and you get this ebook that tells you how to successfully plan everything we said in this podcast. This podcast is wrapped up in that ebook, and it comes in there, and it's probably like a 3-minute read for you. Super easy. enricod.com, and you're all set. Have a great week, guys. You are amazing. Keep doing what you do, and to all your